As you begin your study of Algebra 2, here's some more review of the concepts and terms that you need to be familiar with. These concepts and terms deal mainly with the idea of expressions and equations in math. An algebraic expression is something that consists of numbers, operations like addition or subtraction, grouping symbols like parentheses, and variables. But what is most important about an expression is that it does not have an equal sign. An example of a math expression is 5x plus 3. Notice there is no equal sign, because when you have an equal sign, then you have something different. You have number 11, an equation. An equation in math is a full statement that shows that two math expressions are equal. So an example of this would be 4/5 x plus 8 equals 20. It is crucial that you understand and can recognize the difference between algebraic expressions and equations in algebra. Also, with expressions, we do not solve them. We can just simplify, or sometimes we evaluate if we have numbers that we're going to substitute in for the variables. Equations, however, we can solve because we have an unknown and we have a full statement that that unknown is equal to something else, and we can solve it. Another term that you need to be familiar with, and it's more of a concept really, is an inequality in math. So this is a math statement, but it shows two expressions that are not equal, or they are unequal. An example of this would be the inequality 4x plus 9 is less than 25. So like an equation, it is a full statement, but it is a statement showing where two expressions are not necessarily equal. They may be less than each other, they may be greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So on the next couple, or three, I wanted you to remember how to simplify. So remember, when you simplify, you're going to combine like terms. So in 2n minus 1 plus 6n plus 5, let's just work left to right and start with the n's. So you're going to combine the 2n plus 6n, which is 8. Then you're going to take -1 and add 5. Remember, you're going to look at the sign that is directly in front of the term. Now let's look at the next example. 3n cubed plus 5n squared minus n cubed. So look at terms that are alike. The 3n cubed minus 1n cubed, which will give you 2n cubes. And then you don't have anything to combine with the 5n squared, so that will stay. Finally, if we look at this expression, -4p minus n plus 10n plus p, you're going to combine the like terms. So your terms with p's, -4 plus 1, which give you -3, and then your terms with n's. And we are simply simplifying these. There's nothing to solve because notice these are all three expressions, not equations. Let's do a few more, but now we're evaluating. See how the difference in the directions, yes. So we are evaluating because we have number values to substitute in for the variables. So our expression is 16x, or 16 times x, plus 11 times y. Well, we know what x and y are, so we will substitute those values in. Then we will do the math. So we'll have 16 times -2, which is -32, 11 times -3, which is -33, and then we'll add, and then I will make sure I add correctly, so that will be -65. Let's practice evaluating again. So we have a lot going on in this problem. We're going to substitute a -1 for x and 2 for y. So we'll have 3, and instead of y, 2 squared plus 5 times -1 minus 12 times -1 plus 9 times 2 squared minus 5. Now work left to right. So remember, we're going to do the exponent first. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times -1 is -5. -12 times -1 is +12. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 9 is 36 minus 5. Work left to right. Let's go back. So 12 minus 5 is 7, plus 12 is 19, plus 36 is 35. 55 minus 5 is 50. Now let's evaluate this last expression when x is negative 3 and y is 4. So first let's substitute. We'll have negative 3 plus 2 times 4 over 4 times negative 3 minus y. Now you're going to need to think of order of operations. With fractions, we're going to simplify the numerator first. So negative 3 plus 8 over negative 12 minus 4, which will give us positive 5 over negative 16. So that's our final answer. All right, finally, let's solve these equations. So notice the difference between what we were just working with. We were working with expressions. Equations have an equal sign. So we need to undo what's being done to our variable. So in that first equation, negative x divided by 12, that's what a fraction is, divided by 5 equals 12. So we're going to start by undoing the division. We're going to multiply both sides by negative 5. And that will give us positive x equals negative 60. And so that's our final answer. Now, in our second equation, we will start by dealing with the parentheses. So there's nothing to do inside the parentheses, but we do need to distribute that negative 1. So that becomes 5 plus t plus 3 equals 5t. Let's subtract the t's and combine our 5 and our 3. So we get 8 equals 4t. Then we're going to divide by 4. So our final answer is t equals 2. In our last equation, let's start with the parentheses. So we'll rewrite our side on the left and then distribute the 2. Now let's combine our like terms. So we have 5r equals negative 15. And so we're simply just undoing what's being done to the variable. All right, that concludes our small review over expressions and equations in our building blocks of algebra.